Yes, welcome to the Jamaica Young Police channel. To our loyal viewers, subscribers and Patreon members. At the channel, we are a group of law-abiding citizens who believe in the rule of law and respect the rights of every citizen, but not the ones who do not subscribe to such behavior. We do believe in and support preemptive strikes because they save lives. This is a logical conclusion because preemptive strikes save lives and prevent the further loss of lives. We are all about saving lives at this channel. We at the channel aid criminals with a passion and do not want them over here. We do not want your views, your subscriptions, your likes or your comments. Please go elsewhere where the red carpet is waiting for you. Over here, we want you to go to prison or the departure lounge at Manley. Moving on to today's video.
On a Jamaican drug gang squad, where his and his squad mates' efforts disrupted and dismantled the violent Gullyman Posse gang. He also talks about another highlight of his career, being a member and a team leader on the FBI's dive team, conducting search and evidence response at underwater crime scenes around the world. Now, because of Bobby's amazing and varied career, this is one of the longest interviews I've conducted, so I don't want to take a lot of time talking. But I do want...
One thing we can tell, we always promise you, that we at the Jamaica Young Police channel will always tell you the real mama papa truth. Yes, we're not going to tell you anything because we are trying to soothe somebody's ego or because we are making people feel comfortable. So what you have just heard right there, that's an introduction to a video that you're about to listen, and we're going to give you some context before you listen to this. Strap your seat, because this is the first time any Jamaican is going to hear this, because you know that whether or not you want to believe it, our media sources in Jamaica, they glean Stars are entertainment thing, and back then you have JBC and CVM. These people, they don't do documentary and stuff like that and tell you about Jamaica and its criminal past and the people who are responsible for the crimes in Jamaica and the brains behind the criminality in Jamaica. So, that's why you have the Jamaica Young Police channel. So, we at the Jamaica Young Police channel, through research and stuff like that, yes, we're going to open your eyes to something that you have never heard before. Because they always portray this man, Michael Manley, as an angelic figure, especially in the PMP criminal organization world. You know that yours truly is from a PMP criminal organization community. Cannot take that from me. I don't care what they want to say, that I'm a labor right, I am a traitor, I'm a this and that. One thing I can tell you, I'm a patriot and I will always speak the truth to power. All I care about is the people, the same poor people from my community like mine where I was born and raised. That's all I care about, to change people's life, save them from going to the departure lounge and prison, in which this is what the PMP criminal organization is all about, destroying people's lives. Not only the life of the person who's committing the crime, but victims. So when Michael Manley, first you're going to hear this, when Michael Manley, he was Prime Minister of Jamaica, Michael Manley was on an investigation by the FBI. Yes, first you're going to hear this, because the Jamaica media didn't report on it. Or they even know about it, but they would not. Because most of the people who are in corporate Jamaica, I can tell you that, especially even now, like the Dean Jackson Millers, the Cliff Hughes, all of these people, most of these people, even some of our noted attorneys, the Michael Manley is an angelic figure to them because of they get free education to go to the University of the West Indies. So they don't, it's like, it's just like a don in a community. We'll give somebody something and then they don't even rape and kill one of their family member. And they don't see nothing is wrong with that because he has given them something. Whilst we see life totally different. We don't look to lens and view loyalty because of we love somebody. No. We don't believe in who is right. We believe in what is right. So that's where our criticism come of all the leaders them, and that's why we say that this man was the worst. This is the worst thing that happened to Jamaica. I don't care what you want to say. We're not talking to dummies. We're talking to people who have sense. So Michael Manley was under investigation by the FBI in the 1990s because of his close ties to the reported leader of the Gullyman posse operating out of New York City. The FBI had information and documentary evidence about the man. And when man we are talking about Michael Manley. You're going to hear it for yourself, you know. This is not a make-up thing, you know, because you hear him, oh, yeah, man, I chew you a labor. Yeah, you can't talk all you want to talk. As me talk, as I've said before, and I'll continue to say, yes, and I will say it until I die. Edward Seaga is the best prime minister ever in Jamaica because he made the people them safe, and including me. Because I could walk from concrete jungle. Yes, I don't care who want to denounce me, renounce me, have nothing to do with me. I am not like you. I am not a criminal-minded person. I am a person who believes in fairness and believes in treating people with the utmost respect. You can respect your life and you don't respect other people's life. It don't work like that. Yeah, so the reason why I always says Edward Seaga is the best, because when I was growing up, even before I become a police officer, I now feel safe. I know that I was safe. I didn't have to worry about any guy harassing me or bothering me. The youths who have my age group, only two of us are alive, so everybody else is dead. So that goes to show you the culture of my community. So all the little dummies them talking all kind of stuff like that. Just look who's alive. You understand? Just look. There's only two of us. So moving on. So yeah, so the FBI had information and documentary evidence about Michael Manley. So due to the FBI dismantling the Gullyman posse, you're going to hear now. And all you hear them attack, oh man, bad and this and that. The same time, the Uncle Samuel them, trust me, them start leak like a National Water Commission pipe. Same bad man them in a car, them no one go to prison. Although you see them walk and them screw up them face and them bop. You're going to hear some things about them. Them never afraid to shoot off by police, them in a New York too. FBI I go tell you that. And every time them lock up one of them always have gun upon them. And most of them were illegal immigrants in America. Them now no people still live here and behave like a for them place. Same like how them behave in Jamaica. And even these men, the FBI were more afraid of them than the mafia, because the mafia did know say if you shoot off our police in America, what him say these people them not fear if you lose them life, because that's how the culture. And in Jamaica it was imparted to them to kill police. You're going to hear it. So you don't think a joke we make. So yeah, so you're going to hear, man. You're going to hear. So due to the FBI dismantling the Gullyman posse from East Kingston, which was Michael Manley's constituencies. Yeah, that was Michael Manley constituency. You are going to hear for the first time in your life an FBI agent telling you about the role in dismantling the Gullyman posse in New York City, and how Prime Minister Michael Manley came into the purviews of the FBI and the Department of Justice crosshairs. The FBI agent was summoned to the Jamaican embassy in Kingston, Jamaica, where they discussed the matter. At the time, you hear this, at the time President George W. Bush was president of the United States of America, and he was taking down narco trafficking leaders in Central America like Miguel Noriega, who was his friend until he went rogue. So Noriega was Papi Bush's friend until he went rogue. So when I tell you that Michael Manley was a criminal enabler, supporter, sympathizer, and architect of criminality in Jamaica, you are going to be shocked to hear what this FBI agent is saying about Michael Manley. These are serious allegations, and at the time, there were legitimate concern about the actions of the Prime Minister, who was a public figure on the world stage. The FBI thoroughly investigated through proper legal channels. However, it's crucial to approach such claims with a healthy dose of skepticism, not to dismiss them outrightly, but to ensure that all these accusations are 100% correct and factual. This approach, coupled with our commitment to seeking credible evidence and sources, can help us navigate complex situations with clarity, fairness, and absolute mama papa truth. because we are not beholden to anyone in Jamaica but to Team Jamaica. So we don't care about no party in Jamaica. All we care about is Jamaica. So the allegation of the Prime Minister involvement in criminal activities, especially when the man is up at the time he was the Prime Minister, should not be made. It should not be made lightly, as they can have severe consequences for individuals and communities. That is why whatever we are telling you over here, we can always use direct and documentary evidence to support our claims about others involved in crimes and criminal behavior. So anytime we call somebody name and tell you this, we know the settings because we love chat, or because them are PMP, or because them are Labour, we just tell you as it is. It is essential to rely and verify information and to avoid spreading rumors and unsubstantiated claims. So that's why anytime we tell you, we tell you things about people, say, a guy where come from Waterhouse, and we tell you, say, this guy is a Leicester. Him get a little 14-year-old girl pregnant. We tell you, say, Mark Golding's wife was under 16 when him get her pregnant, and all of these things. We know the settings because we are trying to muddy the water for people because of politics. No, these are people who are in a public office. You understand? Yeah. So when you're in a public office, everything's supposed to be out there. Why the secret? Where you hide? All criminal always have things to hide. You understand? So it's essential, as we tell you, So that is why you are hearing from an FBI agent, a retired FBI agent who investigated the matter. So there is indeed evidence to support the claim we mentioned. So we know the settings because we love chat. Yeah, and to the dummy, the one who say, him tell you how many times him say, boy, I'll kill with Michael Manley. You understand? Hey, as we say, bring it on, you understand? Yeah, bring it on, dummy. A man say him kill 14 people at Chicago. Boy, I tell you, because we know what you look like and them thing there, and you say, your son, them a look for you say, them a look for me, and you want to kill me. Boy, I true not you know me, boy, I tell you. Boy, anytime you're ready, and them thing them, I tell you, man, believe you me. So, we continue the journey. As I can tell you, hey, look, right through my life, I never afraid of no guy. At one time, I can't dead. I know that. So, I not pretend like say, I know say, I'm a superhuman. You understand? We say, my greatest, my idol, yeah man, see, my 86 time living. People say, boy, why you not get it? Where I try to get him for talk with him. Yes. And before we continue, yeah, and to Isaiah Leng, yeah. The source, I don't know we can talk to you and them thing there, but yeah, we have to go talk to you about something because the same, source, 1 and 2 little things, so we talk to you about that. So ultimately, the truth should be pursued through transparent and accountable processes. An individual should be held responsible for their actions based on credible evidence and legal standards. We don't make unsupported allegations or engage in sensationalized rhetoric because that can effectively undermine efforts to address crime and corruption and erode public trust in institutions. So we don't do that. Everything we tell you, real mama papa truth. Anything we tell you about anyone in Jamaica, we don't tell lie on people. So when the people them say we are Labour, the reason why them say that is because we are telling the truth. Because we come from a PMP community, Why? And look here, let me tell you this. Some people, them don't understand the passion of me having when it come on to people. I don't care about your PMP or your Labour, I just care about say you're a Jamaican or you're a human being. We have to live a life, a love, truth. You understand? If you say a man because I'm a Labour or I'm a PMP and I saw you deal with them, I don't deal with people like that. I deal with people like people. I don't care what your political leaning. If you respect me, I respect you. You love your life, me love mine too. Because I don't want dead. I mean, I not pretend like say, boy, if me do want dead, I just go walk in one vehicle, make it kill me. Alright, you understand what I'm saying? So, uncle a dummy would want to think that way and them thing there. We love life. So just like how we love our life, we want you to love, we respect your life. So we're not going to see on us arbitrary beliefs, say them for take it. That's why we're against that. So as we tell you already, say, the truth, nothing can beat the truth than only truth. The truth always stands on its own. So that is one part of it. So you're going to hear, there's three things you're going to hear in this video. So you're going to hear now about the same FBI agent, or along with a Jamaican FBI agent. Listen to me again. Because most only, so the closest most Jamaican come to learn a little about America. Because I tell people all the time, the reason why America is the most powerful country in the world, America is the only country in the world. That's why them immigration system I think that's why America dominate the world. Every country in the world you can think of. Maybe most Jamaican are first year hear this country. Nepal. Yeah, Nepal. Them have a civil war there. That's a close to China, India, Nepal. That's the same place where them have the tallest mountain in the world, Mount Everest. Yeah, Nepal. You have all people, Nepal, they must speak English, but yet still these people are bilingual. Them speak English and them speak their native language. Their culture is totally different from India and China. So every country in the world I can think of, people in the federal government work in a Uncle Sam, in a various agency. So that is the reason why Uncle Sam is so successful in dismantling gangs, mafia, all of these things in America, because them have people who loyal and patriotic to America, who them took them out to serve, because them become an American citizen. And when you work for the federal government or anything, although you have to take another oath and all kind of thing, and that oath meant something. That means you're a patriot. So that's the reason why America is the most powerful country on earth. Yeah, when I talk about, we know Ratican, we know say hustle and them thing there. Yeah, we know say hustle and hustle. Normally we can't tell you this. And we are telling you this. Normally a man of Ratican statue, when they leave the FBI, him never for out there and hustle and degrade himself. Forget look up a few shilling. Him never for do that. Normally a man like Ratican will be able to get a job in one of the various Department of Defense agents. When I work with the federal, we work as a contractor. But sometimes you have some people, it all depends, because once them blackball you because you have done something or said something. I know that even Uncle Sam know that, based on everything that he's saying on the internet, that his heart was always with the Russians and the Cubans, because once you're a PMP criminal organization supporter, that's where your heart is, with the Russians and the Cubans. You think them now look at you a different way. You have many Jamaicans who still working with FBI, other agencies, CIA and all, and you will never see them on YouTube also. No, reason being because they are working elsewhere with other as contractor, and them even hold higher position than him. Although at one time he was in charge of FBI field office. But just so it go. So hustling my hustle. And by hustling, where my hustle? You understand what I'm saying? When he could have been out there somewhere else, because I'm an attorney at law, but hey, who knows? I the same thing then. But look, my loyalty is to the truth. No guy can pay me and them things to make me encourage my own black brothers and sister to support criminality. No. And ignore my conscience and tell lie for people. I'm not do that. I'm not going to tell them, and you understand? I'm not going to do that. As I tell somebody, as I've told someone before, when Edward Sear got hand over Jamaica to Michael Manley, murder was on a 400. I PMP, I've just said to you, I was a detective then, and I PMP destroyed Jamaica. When you look at that bad blood, they are the one that dismantled everything that was working. Them get rid of, mash up, take away eradication. Everything, them, hey, look, they dismantled the police force. Michael Manley and PJ Patterson, PMP, they did everything to make criminality flourish. So all of you people who live in a PMP criminal organization community, Jonestown, Jungle, Rima, some part of Rima, because you have a soldier guy were down there now, him a soldier. Him say him want to kill the Cokes them. I don't remember his name right now. So all of these people will live, if you look, just look who and who kill each other. I see him people them live in a PMP community. I them see man kill each other, you know. Yes. So we continue the journey. Moving on. So you're going to hear from the same FBI agent along with a Jamaican FBI agent. You're not going to hear the Jamaican agent, but your aim is going to tell you about the Jamaican FBI agent. Yes, was able to bust many hardcore convicted Jamaican criminals who were involved in various felonies in the United States of America. They were deported and find themselves back in the United States of America, and were able to get green cards. They were able to travel to Jamaica on these green cards and return to America. And they did not know that it was a sting. The same Jamaicans, you know, yeah, the Jamaicans them from PMP, these Jamaicans, they are Jamaican PMP criminal organization supporters. They thought that, you know, that they were outsmarting, you know, and beating the American government, because, you know, them love brag. So some of them even brag about how they were beating the system, you know, American system, and were able to recruit more Jamaican criminals, you know, out of the shadows to come forward and get involved. When they went now to pick up the permanent green card, you will be shocked at what happened and to these Jamaicans and who them bring come and what they took with them to collect them green card. You're going to hear what all the FBI set up them thing, and I tell you. You understand? So Jamaican criminal them, you know, just like how and we do have video. You see, you had seen a video earlier with the Gullyman posse. Or them kill all them from same place from New York to England. Or them kill all the police in broad day in England. I saw them operate Jamaican criminal. So the story that you are about to hear is not just about the crime and punishment. It has testament to the power of collaboration, determination, and justice. So picture this. A group of hardcore Jamaican criminals convicted in the United States, deported back to Jamaica, only to find a loophole that allows them to return to the US with green cards. They thought they were outsmarting the system, but little did they know that the long arm of the law was reaching out to bring them to justice. So enter the FBI agents, both Jamaican and American, working tirelessly to dismantle this criminal network. They staged a sting that would send shockwaves through meticulously planning and undercover operations through criminal underworlds. These criminals, confident in their ability to manipulate the system, were caught off guard as they fell into the trap. But it's not just about apprehending individuals. It's about disrupting criminal networks, preventing further harm, and ensuring justice. By targeting the root of the problem, these agents are making our communities safer, both in America and Jamaica. Because you know them, they get some nice sentence. So, as you listen to this incredible story unfold, remember the dedication and courage of those who work tirelessly to uphold the law and protect our society. It's a reminder that justice knows no bounds and that we can stand up to those who seek to undermine our safety and security. So, during the same video, you're going to hear a detective who was a young police officer in Jamaica in 1980 telling you about his experience with the same men from East Kingston, the Gullymen posse, the day before voting started for Prime Minister of Jamaica and the MPs, and what had caused him as a young man to stop supporting the PMP party for yourselves. You're going to hear that. So this policeman, you know, you have police that say them ban PMP. Yeah, that have this policeman. You're going to hear that for yourself. So while personal antidotes can be powerful, it is important to remember that individual experience may not necessarily reflect broader truths or patterns. It is essential to approach such stories critically and consider the context, motivation, and biases of the individual sharing them. So I want you to know, so the reason why we are make you hear the story, because this is this policeman experience. Look, We can't tell you this. Even our family member who were in a police and them in a police force, but because them a PMP criminal organization supporter, them now go take them down. They want to tell you what happened. And you thought they don't want to go back there, because them don't want to tell you the truth. So this is a man now who we know many people who were police officers then as Isaiah Leng, and the man will tell you what happened them time. But you know that Isaiah Leng is a man with the destined for greatness from day one, because him did brave. Him never afraid. Because look, you see, you see back in them days when Isaiah Leng and Tom Levine them were West Kingston. You see, West Kingston was a division that no police most police that were killed working in West. Them used to kill them like West Kingston and in East Kingston. Police at them two division, the police used to lose them life like wow. All in front of Denton police station, police would lose them life. Gunman kill them. Yeah man, labor right, PMP gunman just try and kill police all them. Because them used to stand up out there, you understand? So political affiliations and decisions are deeply personal and can be influenced by various factors, including personal experiences, ideological beliefs, and societal influences. While one person's experience may lead them to change their political allegiance, it's essential to recognize that others may have different perspectives and interpretations of events. So that's why I tell us that people who are PMP criminal organization supporters, them can't think. Because this is a man who's from our home. Everybody in it a PMP. And he was a police officer, just like yours truly. And him see some things and him say, no, make it alright, you're going to hear it for yourself. When people can't think critically, you can't control them brain, so them see you as dangerous. So additionally, it's crucial to seek out diverse sources of information, not just those that confirm our preconceived notions, and to consider multiple viewpoints when forming opinions or making decisions. Engaging in open dialogue and respectful debates can help foster understanding and empathy, even when there are differences of opinion. This approach can enrich our understanding and challenge our biases, leading to more informed and balanced perspective. Ultimately, each person's political journey is unique and essential. To approach political discussion with humility, empathy, and willingness to listen to others' perspective. Yeah, so we want you to listen. Yeah, we want you to listen to this policeman telling you, about his experience as a police officer in East Kingston with the same Gullyman posse. Them. So you watch, you listen.
I don't know. Manley was a reckless leader. He was a reckless person. But I can't say for sure whether or not he had any plans to join his lifelong friend Fidel Castro to join the communist bloc and be a part of Russia. I don't know that. I can't say if he would or would not. What I will however say that those who surrounded him were so power hungry. It was D.K. Duncan who said that the PMP is going to be in power for 100 years. If a party is in power for 100 years, there's no other party. There will be no other party. So you can't sit down and play naive. D.K. Duncan, Trevor Monroe is a declared communist. He said he was a communist. And he admitted recently that he said so. And at the time he was a communist. And he was one of Manley's allies. So if he was a communist, you think he never had a plan for Michael Manley if he never decided to go sorry, that's what happened to Maurice Bishop in Grenada, He played it up with the communist bloc, then build schools him and build up Grenada. Just like how they were out there building up. And when the time come for him to switch, he would never switch. He was also another good friend of Michael Manley, Maurice Bishop. He was murdered. There was a bloody coup in Grenada in October 1983. Bloody coup where they killed the prime minister and killed some of the cabinet ministers who were his allies. And this man in Hudson Hastings was the army general. Featured heavily, used the soldier them and wipe out them backside because them decide we get turn communist and them ready to turn communist and kill him. I think if Manley did a ramp, because Manley was on the borderline, so to speak, He was the kind of person who he was indecisive. His father said it, His father said he wasn't ready for leadership. Norman Manley said that. in the late 60s when he took over the party, I think 69. No, Manley said that, and that cannot be disputed. So he was the type of person who you say was on the fence, you know. But if you sway and you're not decisive when it comes to commitment, you know, you are going to be run over by the train of mediocrity, you know. The train of mediocrity is going to run you over. That happened to Maurice Bishop. If you decide, say, well, in a ramp with the communist people, let them go long time and let them come do a kind of thing. But when they come spend up millions of dollars, and we're ready for turn communists, and then kill him behind and kill off some of them and take away a place. So Jamaica would in fact would have been targeted instead of Grenada. Jamaica, the attention was taken off Jamaica because Siaga won 1980. That is why, let me tell you something, you know. The election was Thursday, the 30th of October, 1980. Wednesday, the 29th of October. 4 of us, 3 other constables and myself. I was the senior one. Senior in the sense that we graduated March 1980 and them graduated July 1980. So I'm in charge of them. We have one boy named Star sitting up there. Among him cronies them. From top of Bray Street there. Right at Bray Street there, just before you enter into McIntyre Villa. And 4 hours ago, there were six leg. With 6 suit, I mean 4 leg with 6 holes in it and 6 on my belt. That's where I go for boy. And when we reach there, you see? We see the boy like we know him. I think it's 4 we know him because he was a well-known fellow. We had a picture of him now like he was wanted we murder 2 women on top of Bray Street there. Because we had found 2 M16 rifles in some tube under the earth and one tree them implant them. We get information. I'm going to kill 2 man them inside them informer. And then go up to Rallington Town, not Rallington Town, Franklin Town. And allegedly murder the DC and house and kill him. That's how vicious the boy was. And we say boy and we go for him. You see when we go up there? We get the shock of our life because what happened when we heard intelligence reports just afterwards that they were actually recruiting people from Burger Gully, Margaret Gully, Arnett Gardens and other PNP strongholds to come lock down headquarters because the election was the following day. And when we look, we see some rusty man, I mean, no, don't correct man, brother. Because when I think about police, if you're active frontline police, you have no code. You have to know them. Because you can't see how they know them. And when we look, we see some changer. Some really rusty looking man, like, some big old rusty crab, I come around as a whole. Really. And then surround up there, surround the 4-way. And I threaten for beat we. And take away your gun and go give Michael Manley. I have to get mad. I have to literally get mad and tell the police and ease off and spread them out. And just tell them to start shoot. Let me say any man cross this so shoot all baby, shoot up baby yai. Me get mad, literal mad. Because I realize the man in closing power and come at me. I probably walk and drop it now. You want to lick from what I get. Me say shoot in a head. Me say remember that 6 shot you got, you know. When you turn police, are you dead warrant that you sign, you make up your mind with dead or live. But today I got dead, but make sure say at least 6 dead with you. At 24 that. And they realize me attack wicked, you know, because I attack wicked like me mad, you know. Like me make up my mind with that, you know, me a boozy police, you know, if you're dead today, make sure you kill 6. And then realize then kind of ease back now. Me challenge me say the first man every day just step cross the curve wall. Just put up on your foot and see what I'm here today. And me say I'm gonna come. Me call it the 3 whatever probation the 3 younger cap them. I try to 4 young. And we tape through and then share the crowd and come out. And one of them say, oh, wait till tomorrow. Tomorrow Thursday, Friday morning, you know, no work. You know, so much home guard we have. I sit there and talk. So brother, no come back and talk sitting where you can't back, you know. Me live this thing. I live through it. You so much home guard and I have a home guard with you. And some of them comrades so get to them in charge of home guard and sergeant named Ben Juice in charge of home guard at Ellis Road. In charge of home guard and have gun, everything different. Them have them home guard guns only ugly must Cuba then come from some ugly pine tree sitting with them big old front side panny. You wonder what kind of gun them there. And they had to dismantle that home guard force there. I integrate the gun them in the police, give police them because she would coot. You understand me? So they all coot them. We converge up at Dunkirk. We're off the view. that them get to the police force. Right in our headquarters, what they call it, Michael Manley was the MP. Right up beside Michael Manley, up then call headquarters. At them in the station. You understand me, brother? But you don't know what happened. Few months before that was a comedy, you know. As something happened. Few months me was a chang comedy left my country as orange color comrade. And orange and red. The orange come in after. And red, the color was red. So when me I tell you sitting in the bed, I tell you straight from where it happened to me, or from where me read, or when me hear people say more than one, it has to be credible. It has to have some credibility, and you're able to back up what you see. Because if Chairman will say him a communist, and him a Michael and Dicky and the rest of them, and little shot on in the time, so I'm not brethren. It goes without saying that there was a group inside there which was hardline. They were hardliners, and whether Michael was going to do it or not, and I don't think he would have back down either. He was indecisive, as his father said.
Yeah, so you have heard from a detective. His name is Morgan, and he's sharing his personal experience with the same Gullyman posse, same men that migrated to the United States of America after Michael Manley has lost the election in 1980. You heard it for yourself. That is the man's personal experience. So, you know that people have to talk about biases, and here the man says he was a born comrade. When we say born, his entire household, they were PMP. Even his mother, his father. And, if you people want to hear him, all you have to just put in the request, and we let Mr. Morgan come over here and tell us his personal experience with the PMP criminal organization, and why he says that, as we have said here too, that the PMP is a criminal organization, and you'll hear him give you along with facts, not hyperbole or sensationalism. So now we're going to the meat of the matter now. So you're going to hear from this FBI agent, yes, the man who dismantled the Gullyman posse, and the same man who was investigating our former Prime Minister Michael Manley. You see that man that you're looking at right there, Eric Gullyman Vassell, them call him Brooklyn Barry. Yeah, he's in Jamaica now, and so the last election, who you was seen with? Mark Golding. I tell you that because the same day when he was walking, people sent, when I go say, sent it. Well, when I go tell you, say, I want a bodyguard either. I want a Mark Golding bodyguard, or you understand, or the other politician that he was there with out there in a East Kingston, Julian Robinson, when I go tell you. Remember, one of Julian Robinson bodyguard, Detective Sergeant Simpson, was killed by other police because of what he had witnessed. So I don't know how people do it, how them do it. Or you as a politician or as a police, you kill a colleague because of a political party and you protect. So, hey, that's what I'm telling you, So, I am totally different. You understand? Yeah. So you watch, you listen, and you decide.
On a Jamaican drug gang squad, where his and his squad mates' efforts disrupted and dismantled the violent Gullyman Posse gang. He also talks about another highlight of his career, being a member and a team leader on the FBI's dive team, conducting search and evidence response at underwater crime scenes around the world. Now, because of Bobby's amazing and varied career, this is one of the longest interviews I've conducted, so I don't want to take a lot of time talking, but I do want to show. Everyone, I am so excited to introduce you to my guest for today, years in the FBI. Hi, Bobby.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. I know that you have had a varied career working dangerous drug investigations and then a collateral duty that became a full-time duty with the FBI dive team. Let's take it in chronological order.
Okay.
First of all, when did you join the FBI and why did you join the FBI?
Well, I was in 1985. I started law school in New York, and I was attending law school, and the FBI came around on one of those career days recruiting, and my father and brother were both NYPD sergeants, so I had a history of family and law enforcement, and I was thinking about going into the NYPD as well, but the FBI kind of piqued my interest, and then my dad was actually the one that encouraged me to go into the FBI because he said, you probably get treated better and worked more interesting cases and things like that. And he was right. And so my dad encouraged me. And then I graduated law school in August of 87, and I already had my appointment letter. It was one of those years I was lucky when Congress had approved a bunch of funding for new agents, a bunch of new agents. And so I entered the academy literally maybe 3 weeks after I finished law school. It was really hard to staff the New York office, and they had that program where if you requested to go back to New York, they would automatically send you there. So I wasn't one of those ones at Quantico who had to read their first office of assignment out of the envelope and stuff, because there were 5 of us in the class that picked New York, and we all knew that we were going to need to go back to New York. So in December, just before Christmas of 87, I reported to the New York office, to the Brooklyn, Queens resident agency. I was lucky enough to get assigned initially right away to a organized crime squad, a traditional Italian mafia squad. And so I worked for 2 years on the Lucchese family, the Kenrack case, which was Kennedy racketeering. The Teamsters had controlled 2 Teamster locals. The mafia had controlled 2 Teamster locals at Kennedy Airport. So a box of cargo didn't move in or out of Kennedy Airport without the mob taking a piece of it. But as the new guy on a case on a squad that had, basically only 2 cases being worked, half the squad worked one case, half the squad worked the other, and but it was just a ton of wires and surveillance, and then I slowly kind of got weaned into informants. Little slower on the Italian side because those are like long-standing informants, and the guys have them for decades, and you develop a relationship. But I had some really old-time agents who, all of whom had gotten their credentials directly from Hoover and were really street investigators, right, before computers and before anything. These guys were pen and paper guys. They had their little reporter's notebook everywhere they went. And I slowly was able to get weaned onto how to work an informant, not so much how to develop informant because, like I said, with the Italians, these guys, they've been, developing them for years and stuff. So it was a lot of surveillance work, a lot of Title III work, and a bit of informant development, informant handling more than development.
Well, it sounds like it was a great training opportunity. I mean,
it really was.
So how long did you do that?
For about 2 years, and then the New York office was starting a new squad back in Manhattan, and I was kind of seeing the writing on the wall that if I was going to get a more vast experience, I was going to have to move, or else I was going to have to stay on this squad for 15 or 20 years before I was going to be in a position to kind of get my own thing going. They started what was called a non-traditional organized crime squad, which at that time in New York meant going after half the squad was going after Jamaicans and the other was going after the Chinese gangs. And so I volunteered for that squad, and my supervisor endorsed me, and I moved back into the main office in Manhattan and got on the ground floor of this brand new squad that was taken off, and it had a great supervisor and a great primary relief. And that's where I really started learning how to develop informants, it just took off from there. I was assigned to the Jamaican squad, at the Jamaican side of the squad, and I just got really fortunate one day early on. We had a walk-in, a guy walk into the office saying he had a bunch of information on this big Jamaican gang that was operating in Brooklyn, and, I sat down and I had a first grade NYPD detective as my partner, which was another very fortunate thing. And it was shortly into the interview we stepped out, and he kind of knew exactly what was going on and schooled me on it. And this guy was actually part of this gang, and there was an internal war going on in the gang. And although he brought himself in as a concerned citizen living in the neighborhood that was just going to give us all, he was giving us such a detail of the inner workings of the gang that my partner,
you knew he had to be a member.
He had to be a member. And really what it was, as it turned out, him and his 3 brothers were kind of a breakaway faction of the gang, was trying to take over the gang. And he thought he was going to be smarter than us, right? He was a former Jamaican cop and down in Jamaica, and he thought he was just going to enlist our help in getting rid of the other side of the gang. So we played his game for about a year, and we kind of ran him for about a year until the war started getting really serious. And he called me one day and said, "Hey, you're going to hear about they're trying to set me up. The other part of the gang is trying to set me up. They're going to say that I drove down the block and shot out of my car and hit a bunch of people, and a girl was hit and a little kid was hit. It wasn't true. It's not true. And I said, okay, just, meet us come in the office and we'll talk. Well, by the time I talked to my detectives out in the field that worked the precinct, because after a year we knew these guys, the precinct level detectives who knew everybody in the neighborhood, we knew our guy actually did the shooting. So
what happened when he came in?
He never left. We literally interviewed him all night. We had the AUSA on the phone. We drew up a complaint and information, and we charged him. And he did not come in thinking he was going to be spending the next, 20 years in jail. And we had to, kind of get him to that point. And so it was an all-night, one of these all-nighters, 3, 4, 5 in the morning talking to him. And the AUSA, very next day, first thing in the morning, he was appeared before the magistrate. He got the information signed. And we charged him, and then he cooperated. He had a brother already. One of his other 3 brothers was already in state jail, and then we got his 3rd brother in custody the next day. And then he had one brother that we spent a week trying to get to come in as well, and he said he would. We had a couple of meetings with him, a couple of phone meetings with him, and he said he just had to handle a few things. I think in the back of his mind, he knew he was going to jail too, like his other 3 brothers. And he wound up getting in a shootout and getting killed with the other members of the gang. And he was going to go out in a blaze of glory. He realized his 3 brothers were in jail. The rest of the gang was kind of winning this internal war. And that was actually my first, homicide, where I was actually called out at night to a homicide scene. Here's the guy we've been looking for. He was all shot up 20 times or something. And so there was my schooling in gang, drug work, homicide. I never thought I would be standing at a live homicide. So I talked to my dad later on. It just didn't seem to be like things FBI agents do, but it was a new age.
All right, so this was a situation, and which doesn't happen very often, when your informant actually becomes your subject.
Right. And quickly thereafter became my cooperating witness. It was kind of a process that didn't stop. He was an informant, became subject, became a cooperating witness. It was very smooth, the transition. I mean, it was one of, like I said, it was one of them all night interviews, all night type of things, convincing him. No, he was very not willing to do it, and it was one of those things where I really learned from this first grade detective I was working with how to talk to people, how to talk to this guy, how to convince him, and it was not easy. We were exhausted. He was exhausted. The mental exhaustion sets in, and you're in that interrogation room literally all night long. Sun's coming up the next day, and we're finally making some headway, and it was one of those seminal moments of a career where everything just kind of opens up. Your eyes open up and say, "This is what you want to do. This is what you were meant to do."
What would you say was the difference between working the Italian mob and this Jamaican mob? What was the difference, or was there a difference?
Yeah, I think the difference was, well, first of all, the violence. The Jamaicans would shoot at us over a $5 bag of crack. The Italians, not so much, right? So we had an understanding with them. I mean, I remember being taken along to talk to the boss, Vic Amuso, the boss of the Lucchese family at the time. I went with one of the older agents that we had credible threat against his life. We didn't tell him we had overheard it on a Title III, but that's how it happened. And
right.
We approached him on here's the boss of the family, surrounded by his inner circle, his bodyguards, and they're all in their sweatsuits and they're hanging out at a handball court in Queens. And you walk up to him and say, Mr. Russo, we have to inform you we have this credible, threat against your life. He feigns this shock on, and it was one of those movie scenes, well, I don't know why agents, thanks for telling me, but I have no idea why anybody would want to harm me,
Yes, I'm just a businessman.
Yeah, and we satisfied our legal, obligation to let him know, and we walked away. But you would never have that type of interaction with the Jamaicans. Whenever we were in the street working them in Brooklyn, it was always much more high tension, much more looking over your shoulder. Even when you're on surveillance, you will, always knowing that they could and probably would shoot at you because, they were all born and raised in Jamaica. It was a much more violent society. There was much less respect for the police, and it was much different. It was in that sense. The other thing was, and when I was working the Italians, they weren't many of them weren't cooperating, especially once you arrested them. They were willing to go to jail for 10 or 20 years and do their time. It was later when, Sammy the Bull and a lot of guys started to flip that changed, but that was after my time. I had already left and gone to work with Jamaicans. But the Jamaicans would, because mainly they were facing Title 21 drug charges, which carried much, much stiffer penalties, and they were mainly in the crack trade, and the crack guidelines on the sentencing guidelines on crack were very, very tough. So most of them never faced those guidelines. Most of them cooperated. They got their 5K letter, and they got a break from them, which allowed the judge to depart down on the sentencing guidelines. And so guidelines were really only a hammer over their head that 95% of them never faced. I think my first indictment on the gang case that I was talking about, I think we indicted 54 people, and we went to trial on 6. We had 48 people plead out, or, not all of them cooperated, but most of them did. That was the main difference. And the other difference was simply the level of violence that the Jamaicans were willing to engage in. The Italians knew that it wasn't good for business to be violent towards police. And, that was something they learned over decades and decades and generations. The Jamaicans, most of my subjects were born and raised in Jamaica, a violent place where they didn't respect the police. There was a high level of corruption in the police down there. So they brought that kind of attitude with them to the streets of Brooklyn and the Bronx. Those were the two main differences when I went over to the Jamaicans. The good difference was we were able to get a lot more cooperators. The bad difference was that even on a surveillance, you always had to have your head on a swivel. They, whenever you chased them. I mean, I don't think I ever arrested a Jamaican that did not have a gun on him. And some of them resisted, and we rolled around. I remember rolling around on the streets, with these guys, and the gun would come out of his waistband and things. So, I mean, it was commonplace, that kind of thing.
Now, was there a particular head of the family? Was there a Don in the Jamaican gang?
There was, actually. And all of the gangs in Jamaica, the Jamaican gangs in New York, were all tied to a particular neighborhood back in Kingston, Jamaica. If you were a Shower Posse guy, you came from, a certain neighborhood. If you were a Gullyman Posse guy, you came from the Gully, the neighborhood, or Tivoli Gardens, or, one of the Kingston slums. And so the gangs would form down there, and that would be their base. And when they set up operations in the U.S., in Miami or New York or another city, they would have that affiliation. And
that's pretty interesting because, yes, in Philly, like you might have a gang affiliation because you're on a particular corner in the neighborhood. But the corner in the neighborhood for the Jamaican gangs is back in Jamaica.
And that served them well because they knew everybody. You couldn't be a member of that gang unless they knew your family back in Kingston. You weren't going to fake your way into a gang because it was all family relationship, friend relationship. You knew you knew people who they knew. I mean, it was a very tough thing to penetrate because they all knew each other growing up. And I think that was one of the reasons it served them well. The other one was I quickly realized that there, just like the U.S., there were two major political parties in Jamaica, the JLP, the Jamaican Labor Party, and the PNP, the People's National Party. And all the gangs were affiliated with one or the other. We noticed a lot more violent activity in the U.S. even around the Jamaican elections down in Jamaica. The gangs would be shooting it out in New York about the election that was about to take place in Jamaica. It was a learning process over a couple of years, but after a while, when I'm sitting in an interview with a Jamaican guy and I start talking about the JLP or the PNP, you could see them immediately change their posture. They immediately knew that I had a knowledge of some of their inner workings.
I guess also that really says a lot about the political corruption, where the gangs had an affiliation with the political parties.
Absolutely. I mean, you had to know who you were dealing with politically in Jamaica, what neighborhood they were from, and each gang had their own, and neighborhood had their own way of doing things. Some were more violent than others, and it was just a learning process over a number of years.
Now, was there a particular gang or a gang affiliation that you were concentrating on, and what was your success with that?
My first case was the Gullyman Posse case, and Eric Bassel was the head of that, and that's the one that I talked about earlier where the informant came in, the former Jamaican cop came in and and gave us all the information. We ultimately arrested him. But, you know, in that case, we indicted, that was the case we indicted 54 people, and we eventually got all of them. Vassal got away, and he escaped on us. The first night, the big takedown, we got about 36 out of the 54. We did 30 simultaneous search warrants in New York, Dallas, Texas, Albany, New York, and other places. But, you know, it was during one of those searches that we found numerous photographs of our gang members with the current Prime Minister of Jamaica. And in those photographs, clearly visible on tables in this room was cocaine and weapons.
When you say current, you meant current at the time.
At that time, he was the Prime Minister of Jamaica. And, you know, the U.S. Attorney, you know, it was the time it was a time period when Daniel Noriega, you know, in Panama was getting indicted by DEA and stuff. So, you know, it kind of created a stir that we got these photographs. And I was summoned down to the U.S. Embassy in Kingston within weeks of those search warrants and word getting out that these pictures were had. And I remember, you know, being a little intimidated, being pulled into the ambassador's office. They wanted to see the pictures, and so they were looking at the pictures. And, you know, these are State Department guys. They don't want to ruffle anybody's feathers. And they were looking and trying to see if the photographs could have been doctored. But this was before digital photographs. These were not digital cameras. You know, these were not doctored photographs. It was interesting to now be embroiled in this political type of thing. They really wanted to know whether we were going to try to pursue yeah,
so, you know, as you have just seen, you know, two of Jamaica's most noted convicted criminals. Yeah, you know, Jamaica have honest criminals. You know, you have Bojo Banton, convicted court dealer, and Isaac Buchanan, convicted court dealers. Both men are aligned to the PNP criminal organization. As we told you before, that the only thing the PNP is good at producing are criminals. Yes, they are very good at that. Remember that 98% of the men who are in prison and women in Jamaica are from PNP criminal organization communities. We said that to you. It's there. The data is there. You know, the government of Jamaica, if they release the data publicly, you're going to hear they say the stigma, you know, it's trying to create a stigma on the PNP community and people who live in PNP communities. But whether or not you want to believe it, that's a reality. It's a fact. It's a fact. So if you are from a PNP community, as we said to you before, if 100 boys are from a PNP community, 98 of the 100 their forecast, you have a thing that called forecast, futuristic, or, you know, calculus, that they calculate and they can determine and tell you what the outcome of their future. We'll tell you, out of the 100 boys who are from a PNP community, 98 of them would end up in a prison or the departure lounge. And the reason why we're telling you, it's only 2 of us that's left from my age group. 2, yes. So if you don't believe, if you think that, and, you know, like for those who make, like monkey face, oh, you're an idiot, man, you're an informer, you're a part of a system. Just remember that I am alive. Past 25 long time. Never, you understand what I'm saying? When I was in my early 20s as a police officer, you know, when I reached 22 as a police officer, I was the youngest that graduated from my batch. And when I reached 22, that was like, wow, this is a milestone. And then it continued, and you understand what I'm saying? Most of you who are from Jonestown and Concrete Jungle and other parts of Arnett Gardens, not going to live past 25. If you continue with that same mindset that is there in the communities, you're going to end up in prison or the departure lounge. You can think that you can be the one that is totally different. You think that you can be like the George Bank to live like in your 70s. That's not going to happen anymore. It's not going to happen. Little 13, it's not going to happen like the George Bank and Little 13 and others. I tell you that. So we have come to, it's not the end, but we have to end it right here. You know, the insights, you know, shared in the video of our rear glimpse into the complexities of crime, politics, and justice. So you heard for yourself where the FBI agent is telling you the Prime Minister at the time in 1990 was Michael Manley, and they were investigating him. So if you want to hear what happened, you know, after, you'll have to subscribe to the Patreon channel. Yes, and there's so many other information there that's not on YouTube that you will learn about. If you are interested to know about your past and why Jamaica is at where it's at right now. As we tell you now, our channel is not an entertainment channel. It's all about educating people and informing them so you can make informed decisions about the kind of life that you want to live. If you love to live like the people them from my community, we live like dogs. Life, this man killed that man because him say something and you don't like it and all of that, and you don't believe in, you don't respect people's life, then, so be it. So you're going to, the insight in this video, offer a rare glimpse into the complexities of crime, politics and justice in Jamaica when it comes on to politicians. It's a story that deserves to be heard, not just for its intrigue, but for the lessons it can teach us about the importance of accountability, transparency, and the rule of law. By joining the Patreon squad, you will gain access to exclusive content that delves deeper into this fascinating narrative. You will hear first-hand accounts from those on the front lines of law enforcement as the FBI agent. You'll hear as he recount his experiences and shed light on the inner workings of criminal networks and their connections to political sphere. But more than just a story, this is an opportunity to support the work of those who dedicate their lives to keeping our society and communities safe. Your membership helps. So if you are intrigued what you heard so far and eager to uncover the rest of the story, consider joining the Patreon squad today. Together we can shine a light on the truth and work towards a safer and more just society. And as we said to you before, the other topic that you'd heard of, you'd hear of the same FBI agent using, along with a Jamaican FBI agent, yes, they disrupt another PNP criminal organization, Gullyman Posse, in Miami, Florida. Yes, and you're going to hear it. Very intriguing. These people think that they could beat the system. These are men who have convicted for felonies in America. They should not be in America. They were deported, they came back. And yes, and they were able to infiltrate and thought that you have all people in the passport of, you're going to hear some things, trust me. You understand? But the FBI had set them up in such a way that these Jamaicans, boasting, not knowing that the FBI was listening to them, boasting how they beat the system, only to learn later that it was everything that was going on. And you know that, guess what? You know that because the thing work, they think that America is like Jamaica where corruption is rife. We know that corruption exists in America, but they thought that corruption is rife and, like one man can buy a birth certificate of Jamaica and him get it and him use it and everything good. Not knowing, say, even all of that is a sting. That's what happened, and you're going to learn. So if you want to learn that, you join the Patreon. So have yourself a beautiful day. Jamaica Young Police Channel, out.